is much better for me content-wise than being in some type of meetings or labor union negotiations. So for me, it's nice to escape for 15 minutes and be with you. I recognize many friends, many colleagues, familiar faces. And I was about to say to Mr. Mohammed, why do you need me to close this meeting? You have distinguished entrepreneurs, innovators, successful businessmen and women in the audience who I'm sure can add a lot of value and can inspire and motivate the men and women sitting here who decided to take the hard route, the route of entrepreneurship and innovation. On my way to the event, I prepared the speech. Since I spent some time preparing it, I may as well pronounce it. So with your permission, let me go through it quickly. Again, to confirm that innovation, entrepreneurship, in part through technology, is a major drive and is an important part of the program of the new government. Those of you who recall the speech given by the new head of government before the ANC on January 29th, there were a couple of paragraphs. One of the concepts that I did have the chance to discuss with some of you, including with Madame Lemia Shafi, who is here, is beyond education for employment, the initiative that she's managing, which has been around for at least a couple of years. A concept that is dear to me at least, and this discussion we had a year ago, is also education for self-employment. And how can we create self-employment if we don't instill innovation, creativity, technology, entrepreneurship, business plan, development in the curriculum, in our incubators, in our accelerators? If we don't provide the coaching and the mentoring to give not only the competence, but also the confidence among the young men and women. So the message is you are not on your own. We provide you with a favorable ecosystem. We provide you with the enabling technology and financing, and we want you not to say, I have a diploma, get me a job, place me. No, you have that diploma thing also, whether you have an idea that you can test, that you can develop, that you can turn into a startup. So that will give you a job for yourself. And also it will maybe create opportunities to hire 1 or 2, 3 people working for your startup. That's education for self-employment, not only education for employment. So we have here Mr. Colster from the African Development Bank. He may recall this was a project I did for the African Development Bank last year. And on January 27, I gave a lecture at the African Development Bank on this same subject. The title was How to Reform Higher Education in North Africa and Middle East, the concept of education for self-employment. Those of you who recall what was January 27th, that was the day after the formal announcement of the new government. So on Sunday, the 26th evening, Mr. Mahdi Jamal announced his new cabinet, and he entrusted me with a portfolio of higher education, scientific research, and ICT. The next morning at 9, I was speaking at the African Development Bank about how to reform higher education. Our head of government told me, I didn't know that you are that quick. I just appointed you in the evening. The morning after, you are giving a lecture on the topic of how to reform higher education. So this is a long-standing project with the African Development Bank. And that paper, about 70 pages or so, fleshes out this concept. So just to say that I strongly believe in the root of entrepreneurship and how technology can be a strong enabler in the process. I still recall the words of some people who proved themselves. The well-known world entrepreneur, Richard Branson, who said, the brave may not live forever, but the cautious may not live at all. Let me repeat it. The brave, that is the courageous people, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the brave may not live forever. They may have 2 or 3 years of success. It's not guaranteed forever. But the cautious people who keep doing the same thing again, over and over, the cautious may not live at all. Their days may be counted. So I'm grateful to Microsoft for having this annual startup program. I think we need different stakeholders, from public sector, from private sector, from the educational part, from the financial part. We need civil society as well to, as I said, to give not only the competence but also the confidence among these young men and women who hopefully will seize the opportunities. These market opportunities exist, I believe, not only in our small country, Tunisia, but further beyond. And if technology offers one thing, it is how to go beyond borders. If you have that internet link and that basic ICT know-how and the willingness to take the risk and the willingness to show to your friends and family and the people around you that that idea is worth giving it a try. I think that's more of a psychological hurdle to overcome, and the ecosystem around entrepreneurs has to recognize, has to admire these young entrepreneurs. Not to say, you couldn't land a good job, you ended up doing something on your own. No, we admire you because you did not take that easy route of a job offered by a large company. You decided to try something out of a garage or out of a study room on your own. That's what I mean, the harder route. So again, let me know if we can help. As you know, the ministry I'm in charge of has the two sides of it. I mentioned higher education research, but also information and communication technologies. This is for the first time in the history of Tunisia that information communication technologies are put as part of higher education scientific research. In the past, ICT was part of the Ministry of Industry or part of the Ministry of Transportation. The new head of government, as you know, decided the future of the country is the new generations, the new skills, the new competencies coming out of universities and higher education, but also technology as a choice, as a pillar, as a future for this country and for the world. So if you put them together, the issue and the challenge, how can we create synergies? Comment créer des passerelles? Comment créer des ponts entre les technologies d'un côté, l'université et la recherche de l'autre? We have the technology parts, we have the technopole, we have some incubators, accelerators. How can we really create an ecosystem that recognizes these three pillars? And I think that's part of the challenge. Thank you again to Microsoft. Thank you to all the sponsors, all the parties involved in this nice initiative, from the African Development Bank to Education for Employment, Al Ghazala Technology Park, the US Embassy, Tunisiana, of course, otherwise I'd be biased. Very nice to see you, all the best, and I hope one day we'll be back here to celebrate the success of the many startups represented by the young men and women in this room. Continuez le bon travail. Thank you very much.